So, several people have asked me to make a video about Bill Maher's recent visit to the White House. And I've started noticing that there's videos popping up about it all over YouTube. Clearly he's generated some real interest with this, and I suppose it's not surprising given that Bill Maher has spent most of the last 10 years vociferously and consistently attacking Donald Trump, often quite effectively. And yet here he is, accepting an invitation to go to dinner with him and turning up at the White House. Not only that, but then he came back from the White House, literally effusive with praise about Donald Trump.
He didn't get mad. He's much more self-aware than he lets on in public. I'm just taking as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy. And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know, your mind is blown, so's mine. I never felt I had to walk on eggshells around him. And honestly, I voted for Clinton and Obama, but I would never feel comfortable talking to them the way I was able to talk with Donald Trump.
Now, he has been attacked and criticised for this, and I suppose not surprising, given how consistent his critique of Donald Trump has been, and yet the extent to which he seems to have turned completely on this one meeting with him. Now, of course, in his own admission, Maher hasn't suddenly become MAGA Maher. He still describes himself as a centrist, and I can't imagine him about to start to promote Donald Trump or tell us he's about to vote for him. But something did happen there that seems to have taken him aback. Maher seems to be genuinely confused by the Donald Trump that he met, because he seemed different to the Donald Trump that he's been watching on the TV and criticising from afar all this time. I have to say, I am actually surprised by Bill Maher's reaction. I gave Bill Maher more credit than that. I thought that he had more sophistication in his understanding of Trump than that. Now, as I have argued on this channel repeatedly, the best way to understand Donald Trump is to imagine this black hole at his center that requires attention all the time. His primary goal, his primary motivation is to receive attention from others. Now, that is as much the case on a one-to-one meeting as it is in front of a crowd of tens of thousands of MAGA supporters. Whatever the room is, he wants their attention. Whoever they are, left or right, he wants their attention. Now, Bill Maher walks away from a meeting with Donald Trump and says, wow, he's actually charismatic. He's actually personable. I actually got on with him. He seemed to command my attention. And that's exactly what Nick Fuentes said. You know, this far-right, Holocaust-denying white supremacist who also had dinner with Donald Trump and also came back saying the same thing about Trump being someone who he has a lot of admiration and respect for. You see, that's the thing. When you need attention so acutely, when you crave it so desperately, you will become a chameleon. You will fit into whatever room you are in order to gain the maximum attention. Remember, Trump is a guy who actually contributed to Hillary Clinton's campaign when she ran for the Senate. He was a Democrat for most of his life. It's not like, say, Reagan, who was a Democrat in his early childhood and then became Republican in his college years. No, he was a Democrat up until his 50s and 60s. He only changed when he ran for president. He was friends with the Clintons and people around them. He was pro-choice before he became pro-life. In other words, he has always molded himself to whatever the audience is before him. That is his key defining characteristic. Some of you will remember that when he first ran for president during the primaries, he of course came up with all of this terrible racist rants against Mexicans. They're murderers, they're rapists, they're not sending their best. Some of them, I guess, are decent people. You know, remember that speech? That was the basis on which he won the Republican primary, because he knew that's what he needed to say to win the Republican primary, and that is the basis on which he grew MAGA. But when he won the Republican nomination, he actually started to try to ditch some of that extreme anti-immigrant posturing, because he knew he had the nomination stitched up. So he was trying to start to move towards the center. Now, this only happened for about a week or so, but I remember it very clearly, because he actually even said during one of his televised performances, I'm turning, I'm starting to think differently about immigration. I remember this particularly because Ann Coulter has just written a book called In Trump We Trust. And after that speech, she said that she felt ashamed of the book she wrote. She felt like he trashed everything she wrote in it and had turned 180 degrees the other way. I even remember the late Rush Limbaugh laughing his head off about Ann Coulter's book now being completely out of date because Trump was turning into a centrist. That's what he thought he needed to do to win the general. But of course he was hit so hard by his fans on the right that he immediately realized he was losing his original audience, so he turned back to them and has never looked back since. But that is Trump's overriding defining characteristic. Feel the temperature of the room and go along with it to maximize the attention you get from them. That's been consistent. I'm amazed Maher didn't expect that. And what else Maher seems to have done is never really challenged him. He gave examples such as saying to Trump that, well, Reagan wasn't all that bad. I mean, he did help to end communism, and Trump agreed with him. He seemed amazed by the fact that Trump agreed with him. He wasn't attacking Trump for what he's done. He wasn't attacking Trump for sending innocent people to hellish prisons in El Salvador, who they have themselves admitted they sent in error and then do nothing to bring them back. He didn't attack Trump on how he's brought the country to a near recession mere weeks into office when he inherited an economy that was strong. He never attacked Trump or challenged him on any of those things. So it seemed that Bill Maher was almost slightly predisposing himself to being surprised, to getting a positive impression so he could report some things when he came back. I don't know. But at the very least, I'm very surprised that he didn't expect Trump to mold into the shape of Bill Maher when he met him. Because that's what Trump fundamentally is, a shapeshifter. A bit like those creatures you see in sci-fi movies that will become completely different entities depending on the environment they're in so that they fit in. Now Trump's purpose of doing this is of course not to fit in, it is in order to maximize the attention he yields from those around him. So I think we can end Bill Maher's confusion very easily and very quickly. Trump was just being Trump. And when he's in front of somebody who's diametrically opposed to Bill Maher, a racist anti-Semite, when he's winning the approval of that guy as well. When he was amongst Democratic Party leadership before he ever ran for president, he made them feel like he was their friend as well. And then when he invented MAGA, he makes the MAGA crowd feel like they own him. So to me, as I say, there's nothing surprising about what happened. The only surprise really is that Bill Maher is so surprised that Trump was doing that for which he is most famous. Now, if Bill Maher had actually challenged him in a more severe way, you might have found that Trump would have acted with anger towards Bill Maher. And that would still have served Trump's purpose because he would have got even more of Bill Maher's attention then. He tunes into whatever frequency you're in and serves that up to you in order to gain that attention back. And if we're in any doubt about this, if we have any sense that Bill Maher might be onto something, because what Bill Maher seemed to be suggesting was that Trump is actually one thing in real life and he's putting on an act to be somebody else in front of the media in order to create a character. The thing is, Trump is always putting on an act. This is why he has such a black hole inside him, because there is no consistent Donald Trump there. And he knows that. He only exists himself in the eyes of others. So let's not forget, before we get all lulled into this false sense of security that Bill Maher is conveying, repeated memoirs from people in the White House who not only met Trump for dinner once, but worked with him day in, day out, day and night, have talked about times when his flying rages across the White House meant that there was plates smashed on the floor, dinners thrown against walls that they then had to clean because he'd fly into rages. When he already knows he has your attention, then he'll want more of it. And that's when the outlandish behavior and the rage kicks in. Bill Maher just hadn't got there yet. But the rest of us have, because that's where Trump is in his relationship with the wider public. A guest on Bill Maher's show actually pushed back at him and said that, Bill Maher, you are being used as a prop yourself by Trump, who gets a bit of a PR victory as a result of this. And that, of course, is true, because Trump then gets what he wants most of all. He got Bill Maher's attention, and then he'll get the supporters of Bill Maher's attention as well. More people to add to the attentional void that he perpetually seeks to fill. Thank you for watching my video. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm also interested in philosophy and public policy and politics. I aim to make a number of videos about these subjects, and particularly the intersection between them. If you're able to like and subscribe to this channel, then it'll really help, and also put in some comments whenever you can. That'll really help the algorithm. It'll really help promote this channel to other people. Now, beyond that, we are all, unfortunately, at the behest of a very small number of people who seem to run everything these days. And we are all at the whim of a tech oligarch who could decide tomorrow to end a channel like this because it's not in their favor. And because of that, I've set up a kind of email newsletter, which you can subscribe to. At the top of the channel, you'll see a web address. Please go there and subscribe to my newsletter. That way you can stay in touch with the videos I'm making. At least we can keep the content flowing. So I hope you can do that. And I hope we can keep talking and also gain clarity, not just about what's happening right now, but how we can get through this, how we can improve things to make a better tomorrow together. Thank you.